Good morning, everyone. Okay, Virgo, I have to be honest with you right now. I have done a lot of readings, I have tuned into a lot of energy, and every once in a while, not often, not regularly, but every once in a while, I pick up on something so specific, so undeniable, so almost uncomfortably clear that it stops me completely. And I have to just sit with it for a moment before I even know how to begin saying it out loud. This is one of those moments because what I'm feeling around you right now, what I'm picking up in the energy surrounding your life, and specifically surrounding a very particular person in your orbit, is not subtle, it is not vague, it is not the kind of thing I have to strain to sense or interpret or wonder if I'm reading correctly. It is loud, it is present, it is almost overwhelming in its clarity. Someone cannot stop thinking about you. And I don't mean that in the casual, passing way. I don't mean a fleeting thought here and there, a mild curiosity, a soft wondering. I mean the kind of thinking that follows a person around, the kind that shows up uninvited in the middle of their day when they're trying to focus on something else entirely, the kind that appears right before they fall asleep and is somehow still there when they wake up, the kind that hijacks ordinary moments, a song, a smell, a random Tuesday afternoon, and pulls their mind directly back to you with a force they cannot explain and cannot seem to control. That kind. And here's what I find so fascinating about this energy, what makes it different from the countless other readings I've done around romantic or relational dynamics. It's the intensity, the almost desperate quality of it, because this person is not casually thinking about you the way you think about someone you like. They are consumed. There is no other word for it. Consumed by thoughts of you, by memories of you, by the feeling of you that lives somewhere in their chest and refuses to be quiet no matter how hard they try to make it quiet. And I want to be clear, they have tried. Let me sit with this for a moment because there's more here and I want to get it right. Yes, I feel it now. I feel the effort this person has been making consciously, deliberately, to not think about you, to redirect their attention, to convince themselves that they've moved on or that it doesn't matter or that what was between you was not as significant as it felt. And every single time they try to reach that conclusion, something pulls them back. Some memory surfaces, some feeling rises. Something in them refuses to accept the version of reality where you are not significant, where you are not present, where you don't matter in the deep, specific, irreplaceable way that you matter to them. You are living in this person's mind rent-free. And not just in the corners of it, in the center, in the place where the most important things live. Now, before I go any further, I want to acknowledge something because I feel it in your energy just as clearly as I feel their obsession. There is a part of you, maybe a large part, maybe a quietly held part, that has been wondering, that has been asking itself in the private moments, in the honest moments, do they think about me? Does any of this, whatever we had, whatever we were, whatever this is, does any of it live in them the way it lives in me? Or am I the only one carrying this? You have been wondering if you are alone in this feeling. You are not. You are so far from alone in this that if you could see what I'm seeing in their energy right now, I think it would genuinely surprise you. Not because you thought they felt nothing, I don't think you fully believe that, but because the scale of it, the depth of it, the almost relentless quality of how present you are in their inner world. I think that would be more than you expected, more than you allowed yourself to hope for. Let me tell you what's actually happening inside this person, because I think understanding their inner experience right now is going to give you a clarity about this entire dynamic that you haven't had before. And clarity, real clarity, not the false clarity of forcing a conclusion before you're ready, is what I want to give you in this reading. What I feel first is conflict, deep, ongoing, exhausting internal conflict, because this person is not at peace with how they feel about you. They are not sitting in their feelings with any kind of ease or acceptance. They are fighting them, resisting them, trying to rationalize them away or minimize them or file them into a category that feels safer and more manageable than what they actually are. And the reason they're fighting it, and I want to be honest about this because I think you deserve honesty more than you deserve comfort, is not because they don't feel enough. It's because they feel too much. And feeling too much for this particular person is terrifying. Because somewhere in their history, somewhere in the story that made them who they are before they ever met you, feeling this deeply about someone became associated with loss, with vulnerability, with the specific pain of opening completely and then being left holding something that the other person didn't want to hold anymore. So they learned to manage their feelings, to stay at a safe distance from their own depth, to keep things light enough that they couldn't be devastated. And then you came along, and nothing about what they feel for you is light. Nothing about it stays at a safe distance. Nothing about it cooperates with the system they built to protect themselves. And that specific experience of feelings that refuse to be managed is why they're consumed. It's why they can't stop thinking about you, because you represent something they can't control. And for someone who has organized their entire emotional life around control, that is both the most terrifying and the most magnetic thing imaginable. You got through something in them that doesn't let things through easily. Let me get even more specific, because I feel there are particular thoughts this person keeps returning to, and I want to name them because I think hearing them is going to land somewhere important in you. They think about specific moments with you. Not the grand ones necessarily, though, those too, but the small ones, the ordinary ones that somehow carried an extraordinary quality. A conversation that went somewhere neither of you expected. A moment of silence between you that felt comfortable rather than awkward. The way you said something, the specific way that they have replayed more times than they would ever admit to anyone. These moments live in them. They return to them the way you return to a place that made you feel at home when home has been hard to find. They think about what they didn't say. I feel this strongly. There are things, significant things that this person held back when they had the chance to say them. Things that felt too exposing, too real, too definitive to actually voice in the moment. And now those unsaid things sit in them with a weight that grows rather than diminishes over time. Because unsaid things don't disappear. They accumulate. They become louder in the silence than they ever would have been if they'd simply been spoken. They think about what could have been different. I feel a particular quality of regret in their energy, not the dramatic, theatrical kind, but the quiet, specific kind that arrives when someone realizes that they had something real in their hands and they held it carelessly, not maliciously, carelessly, out of fear, out of habit, out of the old programming that said protect yourself before you let yourself want something, and now they're sitting with the consequence of that carefulness, and it is not comfortable. And perhaps most significantly, they think about you specifically, not a version of you that they've simplified or reduced to make you easier to process. You, the full, complicated, real version of you that they got to witness in those moments when you were most genuinely yourself. That version of you lives in them, and it keeps presenting itself and saying, this is what you walked away from. This is what you're choosing not to reach toward. Is that actually the choice you want to make? That question is living in them right now. And I don't feel that they've answered it yet. That's the honest truth of where this energy stands. They haven't resolved it. They haven't made peace with pulling away, and they haven't found the courage to reach back toward you. They are suspended in the middle of their own feeling, aware of it, unable to dismiss it, not yet ready to act on it. Now, here is where this reading takes a turn that I need you to pay careful attention to. Because everything I've told you so far is about them, about their inner experience, their feelings, their conflict, their obsession with you. And that information is real and it matters, and I believe you needed to hear it. But the most important part of this reading is not about them. It's about you. Because here's what I also feel in your energy, and this is the part that I think has the most power to actually change things, not just to make you feel better temporarily. I feel that you have been giving this person's inner experience more authority over your own life than it deserves. I feel that the wondering, do they think about me? Do I matter to them? Am I alone in this? Has been pulling your attention away from yourself and anchoring it in someone else's unresolved feelings. And that has a cost, a real one. Because while you've been wondering about them, while you've been waiting for signals that they feel what you feel, while you've been interpreting silences and analyzing behaviors and trying to read meaning into every small interaction, your own life has been partially on hold. Your own energy has been partially directed outward towards someone who, whatever they feel, has not yet chosen to fully show up for you. Feeling everything is not the same as being present. And this person, consumed as they are, obsessed as they are, full as they are of thoughts and feelings and regret and longing, has not yet translated any of that into action, into presence, into the kind of showing up that actually means something in real life. Feelings that live only inside someone are not a relationship. They are potential. And potential that never materializes, no matter how genuine, no matter how intense, cannot give you what you actually need. So here is what I want to say to you, directly and honestly and with genuine care for your well-being, rather than just your hope. The information that this person is consumed with thoughts of you, receive it, let it land. Let it do what it needs to do for your sense of self, for the part of you that needed to know you weren't imagining the connection, that needed confirmation that what you felt was real and was felt in return. That part of you deserved to know, and now it does. But do not let it put you back in a waiting position. Do not let knowing they think about you become a reason to keep your attention on them rather than on your own life. Do not let their internal obsession become the thing that keeps you suspended in the exact same place you've been suspended. Because that would mean Their unresolved feelings continue to shape your daily experience, and that is a dynamic that serves neither of you. What actually creates movement in this situation, what actually has the power to shift it from potential into something real, is you. Specifically, you returning fully to your own life, your own energy, your own forward motion, not as a strategy, not as a way to make them chase you, not as a manipulation or a game, but as a genuine act of self-respect that says, I am not going to orbit someone else's unresolved feelings indefinitely. I have a life to live and I am going to live it. Because here is what that does energetically. The moment you genuinely, truly stop waiting, stop holding part of yourself in reserve in case they reach out, stop organizing your inner life around the question of when they're going to decide, the energy shifts completely. Because you stop being someone standing at a door waiting for it to open, and you become someone walking through a completely different door entirely. And that movement, that genuine, grounded forward movement, is often exactly what triggers the person who's been thinking about you to finally stop thinking and start acting. Not always. I want to be honest. Not always. Some people feel everything and never find the courage to translate it into action. And if that's this person, if they are someone who will remain in their own head indefinitely rather than take the risk of reaching toward you, then knowing that sooner rather than later is a gift, because it frees you completely and cleanly. But for many of you, and I feel this for most of the people receiving this reading, the act of genuinely moving forward is going to be what finally moves this person as well, because they have been responding to your energy all along. They felt you pulling back, and it changed something in them. They felt the shift in your energy, and it made them more aware of what they stand to lose. And if you genuinely move forward, not as performance, but as truth, they are going to feel that too. And it is going to create a pressure in them that the comfortable suspension of doing nothing will no longer be able to contain. Watch what happens when you truly stop waiting. Let me also speak to something I feel you need to hear about your own role in this dynamic, because I think there's something you've been doing, not deliberately, not manipulatively, but unconsciously, that has contributed to the suspension. And naming it isn't blame, it's clarity. I feel that you have been available, more available than you've needed to be. Available in the sense of emotionally present, energetically focused on this person, subtly holding space for them in your life even when they weren't showing up to fill that space. And that availability, however genuine it comes from, has inadvertently communicated something to this person. It has communicated that you will wait, that the door is open regardless of whether they walk through it or not, that your life has a placeholder in it shaped exactly like them, and that placeholder isn't going anywhere. And people, even the ones who think about you obsessively, even the ones who are consumed with feeling, will unconsciously take the space you hold for them for granted, not because they're cruel. Because humans take available things for granted. It's not a character flaw, it's a pattern. So the practical, grounded, real instruction here is this: close the placeholder, not with anger, not with drama, not as a statement to make or a point to prove. Just quietly, genuinely close it. Fill that space in your life with your own expansion, with your own projects, your own connections, your own growth, your own joy that exists entirely independently of whether this person shows up or doesn't. And when you do that, when you actually do it rather than just thinking about doing it, two things happen. Either this person feels the genuine withdrawal of the space you were holding and it activates them into finally making a move, or you discover in the process of filling your life more completely with your own living that the space you were holding for them wasn't actually as essential as it felt when you were standing next to it. Both of those outcomes serve you. Both of them are forward motion. Now, let me speak to the near future because I feel something specific around timing and I want to be as clear as I can about it. The energy around this person is building toward a tipping point. That's the word I keep feeling, tipping point. Like something that has been held in balance, suspended between moving and staying, is getting heavier on the moving side, getting closer to the moment where the weight of staying silent and staying still becomes greater than the fear of reaching out. I feel that tipping point is close, not in a vague someday kind of way. Close in the way that things that are about to happen carry a particular electrical quality to them, a specific tension in the energy that you can feel if you're paying attention. And I feel that tension around this person right now, around their relationship to you, around the choice they keep almost making and then pulling back from. Something is going to push them over that edge. And my sense is that the push is going to come from you, not from anything you say or do deliberately, but from the energy of you genuinely living your life forward. From the moment they sense through whatever channel energy travels between two people who are genuinely connected, that you are no longer suspended in the same waiting they've been trapped in. That sense will be their catalyst. And when they move, when they finally, after all of this thinking and feeling and conflict and internal negotiation, actually move towards you, I want you to remember this reading. I want you to remember that you knew, that you saw this coming, not because you hoped desperately, but because the energy was real and someone was honest enough to tell you so. And I want you to receive their movement from a grounded place, not from relief that they finally came, not from the urgency of someone who's been waiting and is now desperate to secure what's arrived before it disappears again, from a grounded place, from the place of someone who knew their worth the whole time and is now simply receiving the confirmation that someone else has finally caught up to that knowing. That version of you, the grounded one, the one who receives from a place of worth rather than relief, is the version that creates something sustainable, something real, something that doesn't reproduce the old dynamic, but builds something genuinely new. That's what's available here if you want it. And the question, the only real question left in this reading is, what do you actually want? Not what do you want because you've been waiting and hoping and the wanting has momentum. But what do you genuinely, deeply, honestly want for your life, for your emotional world, for the kind of love and connection you want to build? Because you deserve to answer that question from a free place, not from the position of someone whose options feel limited to this one person and whether or not they finally decide to show up. From a genuinely free place that says, I know what I want, I know what I deserve, and I am going to hold out for the full version of it from this person if they're capable of it, and from someone else entirely if they're not. That is the energy I want you to carry out of this reading. Not the energy of someone who now knows they're being thought about and is going to use that knowledge to wait more patiently But the energy of someone who knows their own worth clearly enough that being thought about, even obsessively, even by someone who genuinely feels deeply, is not the destination. Being fully chosen is the destination. Being fully shown up for is the destination. Being loved in the light, not just in someone's private thoughts, is the destination. Don't settle for living in someone's mind when you deserve to live in their life. You are worth the full thing, the full presence, the full choosing, the full, real, consistent, courageous love that doesn't hide in thoughts but shows up in actions. Hold out for that. And in the meantime, live, fully, genuinely, expansively live. Because your life is not a waiting room. It is not a holding space until this person decides. It is happening right now, today, in every moment you choose to be present in it, rather than orbiting someone else's unresolved feelings. Be present in your own life. That is the most powerful thing you can do right now for yourself. And honestly, whether you intend it to be or not for this situation too, drop a comment below and tell me, did this land for you? Do you know exactly who this person is? And more importantly, what are you going to choose for yourself after hearing this? Because I want to know, I genuinely want to know where you are and where you're going and what shifts for you after today. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Someone who's been giving too much of their energy to someone who hasn't been showing up. Someone who needs permission or maybe just a reminder that they are worth more than living in someone else's unresolved feelings. You are worth being chosen out loud. Remember that. Every single day. Remember that.